It's like 7:30 in the morning. I don't like mornings. So here at 7. Anyways, Dad asked us, me and my brother, to come over. They loaded out a truck last night. I didn't know it. I had to come over and shot some video. But we've got the rest of that corn. We're going to try to get it on shipped out today, and then we'll have 2019 behind us completely. So it's kind of exciting. I'm getting real close to getting that done. I don't know if there's a full truckload in there or not. Between 800 and 1,000 bushel of corn, I'm guessing. But before he gets here, Vanessa was watching that video where we were moving soybeans, that last truckload of soybeans that we shipped out of this bin here, this tall bin, and she was asking a bunch of questions, and I didn't cover some things real well, so I was gonna hop back in this bean bin and just show some things, because that sweep auger's in there. You saw some video of that sweep auger. I didn't really talk about it, and then the floor. So I'm gonna hop in this bin and just show you guys a little bit of like what's going on inside of a bin. So bear with me one second while I slide into this grain bin. Okay, so it's echoey. The grain bin has two spots that unload into an auger, and I'll show you this right here, this spout here coming up. That's the auger, and then for the grain bin, and it normally dumps into another auger, which is, we've moved it, but it's that auger there, and then we can go into a truck from there. So what happens is, these are holes. I know you can't see real well, but those are holes, and there's an auger down in there that runs from the center here all the way up. And it sits on this metal floor, and this is a false floor. This isn't on the ground. So Vanessa had asked, like, does it sit on the ground? There's actually a concrete pad underneath this entire grain bin, and this false floor sits on top of that. Now, the reason why, or one of the reasons why, is because and you've seen me do it before, turn off the fans. So this is a perforated floor, and those fans blow air, which then blow up through the grain, up through this floor. So it helps us put air on it, helps us dry down. Those fans actually have heaters on them too, so our burners, they're propane, so we can heat and dry, so we can put heat on it. It'll dry out the corn if it's too wet. If you don't, we end up with, I hate to show this, but that's some moldy corn that wasn't completely dry, and that's why we moved it to that other bin, was to get around that. So that's something we'll have to clean out. So there's a false floor on top of concrete, air can blow up, and then what happens with this sweep auger is that there's a center pin right here it's this right here, in that pit dome, and there's a pin on the bottom. That's going to be hard to see, but there's a pin right there on the bottom of the sweep auger. And what happens with that sweep auger is that it's turning towards this center pin, so it's pulling grain to this center pin. And so when we get piles like this out at the edge, instead of having to shovel them to the center pin, what the sweep auger does is it goes around the outside, and it'll pull all that grain right into the center. Now I'm gonna get out because this stinking echo's got to be driving you guys crazy. I know it's driving me crazy, because when I go to edit this, I'll be like, oh, that sounds terrible. Okay. So that's what that sweep auger's for. I know I didn't really go over that very well the last time, but I thought I would share a little bit while we're waiting on this truck to show up. The other thing that happens, I said it goes into this auger. This auger goes up and dumps to the truck, but this auger is not electric. So this spout here and that one on the other there, those are electric. Those are electric motors running those augers, but this one is actually driven off the tractor. So that's why we have this tractor here, and it runs off of this PTO shaft. So once put in gear, the PTO, it's called the power takeoff, turns on, it'll spin, and then it spins this auger the same as the electric motor has. Now, this is probably like the stigma around PTOs, power takeoffs, that if you haven't ever heard anything else about them, is like how dangerous they are. It's because this is a spinning, it's a spinning bar. And you can look here, I mean, it's out a little bit. There's the tractor, it's there. I mean, there's a 6 to 8 foot gap there that's open. And it is a little dangerous in the fact that if you're unaware and you walk into this, not good things are gonna come from it. I've grown around this. I've been around this my entire life. I understand the dangers of it. I understand. Well, so does my brother. We all understand the dangers of it. We don't let people around this who haven't been around it their entire life because of the danger to it. Not trying to be like a fear mongering or anything, but we just understand, and we understand the safety to stay away from it, and know what happens potentially if we get too close. When this truck gets in here, actually, how that truck will sit, it's actually kind of difficult to get into this without intentionally trying to get over to it. So we try to block it off, just as to be as safe as we possibly can. But that's just in these older style augers like this one. That's how that gearbox is set up. Now, on these newer augers, the ones that have the swing away, and by swing away, let me get turned around here. By swing away, I mean that the boot actually comes off to the side, so that boot would sit, you know, somewhere over here, where that auger, where that PTO is very short and it's very concealed. See, it's directly behind the tractor, and it drives both the auger and the swingway. And the safety, I guess, to this is that it is very it's very isolated. There's no reason to be back in here and around that while we are unloading or loading grain through this. Now this one, most of them have, if you look here, it's actually like a plastic cover. That actually will slide. And what that's designed to do is if someone were to touch it or fall on it, the probability of it sliding and not being on that metal is very high. So that in theory it's a safety guard, that if you touched it, that plastic wouldn't move. It would just stop moving, and you wouldn't potentially get caught up in the actual metal PTO. Okay, enough like depressive talk. We're still waiting on this truck, so I hope nothing's wrong. He was taking a load of corn up this morning, the first load. I suspect he'll be here any minute, but I'm going to kind of get ready for that. So what we're going to get ready to do is I'm going to get in there and move some of this corn around so that we can get the sweep auger brought in. So we'll shut off the PTO so we can get that sweep auger in here, and then we'll start getting the rest of this corn moved out. So I can see the bottom. I can walk through this corn knowing where that center spout is, and if I walk around the outside of it, it'll let that corn feed down into that auger. So I'm just trying to create us some space here to get this sweep auger in place. I don't want to be in here too long without my mask. All right, all emptied out. Cleaned up. That's the last of corn. That's the last of 2019 corn. And actually, they took the first load. They took the first load this morning. And over there. Anyways, they took the first load this morning, had very little damage, which was good because we had a load of corn out of that rejected because it was too hot. But we'll get that, and that'll be it. That'll be all the corn that we have to worry about from last year. Now we can start prepping on getting ready to get corn back in that bin. That's all I had for today, guys. We got that load of corn out here. That's awesome. I'm gonna get some stuff put up. We're gonna put this little tractor up and call it a day here at the farm. Thanks for watching. Keep liking our videos and subscribing if you like what we're doing. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.